In 1977, the DSV Alvin was exploring the Galapagos Reef. 1,000 meters down, the pressure was so crushing you'd expect no life to emerge from it. But instead, they saw an ecosystem of wonderful creatures. And this is a tube worm. I know it doesn't look like a worm, but it is a worm, because the name says so. These creatures live in the ocean floor near hydrothermal vents, and are sort of like stuck there and don't do much. So prepare yourself for a very short video. They can grow up to 3 meters tall. The red thing you see is the plume. It breathes and eats with it, so it's a pretty important organ. Surprisingly, they have oxygen-filled red blood. Not very common among worms, you know. They have no mouth nor anus, instead they have this organ called the troposome, which hosts bacteria essential to their survival. The hydrothermal vents spew out hydrogen sulfide. This soup would be toxic to most animals, but not the tube worm. While creatures above the midnight zone thrive on sunlight, the tube worm has bacteria to feed them. The chemicals are converted into energy and sulfur is excreted. So, they behave sort of like a plant and their photosynthesis, except with toxic chemicals instead of sunlight. This process is called chemosynthesis, and if you can't already guess, it's the process of absorbing chemicals and turning them into energy. The relationship between the tube worm and its bacteria is a symbiosis. Scientists still don't know how the bacteria got inside the worm in the first place, though the common consensus is that the bacteria just latch onto the larvae. By definition, that's an infestation, but a good kind. Their predators are shrimps, large brown mussels, and giant clams. Not like they can do anything about it, they're just stuck there, and when they feel threatened, they just hide inside their tube, that spongy trunk thing, until it's safe to come out. But their biggest threats aren't shrimps or clams or mussels. It's earthquakes, which can wreck the vents that sustain them. When that happens, they just die. And that's basically all we know about them. Either that or the scientists are just not that interested in the tube worm.